Democratic nominee Joe Biden is not a fan of packing the court. So now this happened after this revelation, I should say, happened after weeks of questions about whether or not he would support packing the courts if Republicans are able to get Amy Coney Barrett pushed through the nomination process. So now, during an interview with WKRC TV, while campaigning in Cincinnati, Biden was asked point blank, "Are you going to pack the court? Are you in favor of it?" He says, quote, "I'm not a fan, but I don't want to get off on that whole issue. I want to keep focused." And so, look, there's a difference between being, not a fan of court packing and still doing it, and preemptively surrendering on this issue. Unfortunately, I tend to believe that Joe Biden will preemptively surrender and not do court packing regardless. In fact, here's what he said about that. "The president would love nothing better than to pick a fight, whether or not I would, in fact, pack the court or not pack the court." Okay, but who cares? I know you're in an election, but maybe, I don't know, maybe if you said, yeah, if you push through Amy Coney Barrett, then I will absolutely pack the court. Because you already have one stolen seat, and now, I mean, if you're going to try and steal another one, steal RBG's seat, then you goddamn right I'm going to pack the courts. What now? What now? But again, here's the thing. You're going to have Joe Biden who's saying, I can't do it because, that would be very mean to Republicans, and I want to get along with the Republicans. Why do you want to get along with the Republicans? They're not good faith actors. And that's the problem, okay? And look, you don't have to fight about it. Just say, if you're going to do this, if you're going to push Amy Coney Barrett, then, yeah, we're going to fight back. If you want to avoid that, well, then wait for the election. What did McConnell and all the Republicans say back in 2016? Wait for the people to decide, right? Well, they're not going to do that. Again, all the way back in 2019, said he would not get into court packing if he were elected. That's what Biden said. And he lays out this scenario and this reason why, which, look, would kind of make a little bit of sense if you assume that Republicans were good faith actors and wouldn't do the same thing. He said Democrats would add 3 justices. Next time around, we lose control. Republicans add 3 justices. We begin to lose any credibility. The court has it all. Begin to lose credibility. The court has already lost it. Again, we've got Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas. We have these incredibly partisan justices. Thomas and Kavanaugh, for example, are the most conservative justices. And now you add in Amy Coney Barrett, who will most likely rule against the ACA, not because they find something objectionable in it constitutionally, but because Donald Trump appointed her to destroy the ACA. You also have possible ruling against Roe v. Wade, and maybe even allow Trump to throw out mail-in ballots. We don't know, but we know that these are definitely possible, and that we don't believe that Amy Coney Barrett would recuse herself or try to be neutral in this, especially when she's had opinions before on these very subjects. But again, Joe Biden, he's not interested in doing anything about this. Undoing the appointment of Neil Gorsuch, for example. Now, Gorsuch's appointment to the Supreme Court should have never happened because Merrick Garland was the nominee from Obama that never got a hearing in a year. He just never got a hearing. And Republicans said, we don't care. We're not going to allow you to get a Supreme Court justice. And by the way, if Hillary Clinton wins, we're also not going to allow you to appoint a Supreme Court justice. We're going to block it through her entire term. So understand, these people are not good faith actors. And yet, Joe Biden is going to say, well, I'm not going to get into it. Look, if you ask me, I do believe Trump had one legitimate pick. That's when Brett Kavanaugh was appointed to replace John Kennedy, or Anthony Kennedy. Sorry, Anthony Kennedy. He stepped down. He retired, and yes, there was a little bit of shady stuff behind the scenes, but he had the right to step down, and Donald Trump had the right to appoint his replacement because it happened during his term. All right, that's fine. He totally gets that one. Gorsuch's seat, stolen, 100%. And now Barrett also, it's going to be a stolen seat. Why? Because they're trying to shove her through during an election year hypocritically. And so if they do, here's what I would do. If they get Amy Coney Barrett and Joe Biden actually does win the election, which he's possibly likely to do, then you appoint 2 justices to make up for those seats that were stolen. Then you end up having 11 justices. Fair is fair. It ain't pretty. I get it. It's not pretty. But at the same time, fair is fair. But aside from packing, we really should look into term limits for all justices. Look, we wouldn't even be in this position had RBG not stepped down after she had had cancer for the 3rd time. Look, I like RBG. I think she's had some good decisions. She's also had some mixed decisions. But overall, a fairly decent justice. She still probably should have stepped down and allowed Obama to appoint someone else. Assuming, of course, the Republicans would allow it to happen. Prior to 2014, he would have been able to do so because that's when Democrats had control of the Senate. And so, yes, I think she should have stepped down or she should have been term limited out. Because, look, here's the thing. There's an issue with this lifetime appointments leading to people like RBG and Scalia dying on the bench. And then the court gets thrown into chaos, absolute chaos. So there needs to be some reform on that. And the fact that Biden won't consider either of those things and will allow this to happen shows how out of touch and actually pretty how naive he is when it comes to working with Republicans. He's one of the guys who believes that Mitch McConnell and Republicans are acting in good faith. When we know, when you look at them, I mean, you know that it's all about their power. Power is power. And the Republicans, especially Mitch McConnell, knows that fact and is not afraid to use his power to give himself and his party an advantage. Maybe we should actually consider doing the same. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.